Are you ready to be the love of your life? I feel that. It's always such a joy to be here at Unity of Westside. As I was telling Carol earlier, you guys really bring out the best in me. You guys really bring out the best in me. This place has such beautiful energy that every time I step in here, I feel God's love. So thank you. We're going to begin with the affirmation for today. As we all know, one of the Unity principles is affirmative prayer, is affirmations, but not only reading them, living that affirmative prayer in your life. So all together, let's declare, I am powerful, wise, fearless, happy, and worthy of love. I am a perfect child of God. All together, pow! That pow means like now. Like, let's do this. Let's live this. So the question is this morning is, do you believe you're powerful? Do you believe that you're wise? Do you believe that you're happy? And do you believe that you're a perfect child of God? Do you believe that, and are you living it, is the question. Right? So go ahead and give yourself a big hug right now. Just close your eyes and say, oh my goodness, I love myself. I'm so worthy of love. In Spanish we say, qué rico, hug myself, right? Right? It's funny, we laugh, but it's so beautiful to embrace ourselves, to love ourselves, to come back to that innocence, that childlike playfulness, like, I love myself. The question is when you hug yourself, do you believe that for yourself? Let's be honest, do you? Right? Thank you for your honesty, Carol. It's like, maybe, like a little bit, sometimes, right? So I want to bring this up because this is where we start to be able to develop compassion and a love beyond measure for ourselves, is when we start to get really honest, radically honest of the beliefs we have about ourselves, the stories we have about ourselves. So the work is, this month's theme is compassion, and the focus on compassion for others, although there's no way to have compassion for others if we don't begin with ourselves. Having compassion for ourselves. And to really bring to the table the theme of war, the war that we have on ourselves. There's this war that's going on within of destruction of the way that we're thinking and the thoughts that we're believing about ourselves. The 5 Unity principles, the 2 and 3, that's why I brought this up here because it called my attention, is the Spirit of God lives within each of us. And 3 is we create our life experience through the way we're thinking. Through the way we are thinking. So if we're thinking we're unworthy, if we're thinking we're not enough, if we're thinking we're not capable, if we're thinking that something outside is really doing something to us and we're victims, we suffer and we can't live fearlessly. We can't live like as if we're worthy. We can't live in our power. We cannot be the light of the world. And going back to the daily word so beautifully read, it's our spiritual inheritance to live the love of God. Is our spiritual inheritance to live fearless. It's our spiritual inheritance to live happy. It's our spiritual inheritance to live worthy. It's our spiritual inheritance to be peaceful, to be healthy, to experience holiness. The time has come. But we must stop this war, say no more to this war, and to the creation of this consciousness of separation and destruction. It is killing us. And is there something that I always do when I get up here is speak the truth. And to get down and happy with what's really happening, and to be honest, radically honest. I always say we gotta feel it to heal it. We gotta feel it to heal it. That's what the meditation was about this morning, and I invite you guys to come to the meditation in the morning. You're gonna be here anyways. So just come a little early and join the meditation. It really opens your heart for the service. And what we did is this work of really looking at our grievances. And of course, in Miracles, a grievance is any judgment, anything that's bringing you fear, any thoughts of separation. You bring them in your mind. They're like clouds, and you go through the clouds. And the clouds are soft. When you see them, they don't appear hard and destructible like they'll destroy you. But the egoic thought system makes you believe that these thoughts are destructive. But they're only destructive because you believe in them. But if you start to see them as clouds, as just a child of God that forgot who or she is, you walk through the clouds and they're very soft. When you start to let go of your belief in them, and then you're free. And then you get to live your inheritance. But there has to be a real connection with compassion and self-love for yourself, and this takes work. This takes work. And we go to unity principle number 5, which is knowledge of these principles is not enough. Knowledge of these principles is not enough. We have to live them. And how do we do that? We live in life taking responsibility. Responsibility for our thoughts, responsibility of our beliefs, and responsibility for our stories. And that they are our creations. And second is when you're responsible, then you're not a victim. You're not a victim of the world that you see. You're back in your power. And then you start to really step into the world knowing that you are in the kingdom of heaven, that you've never left the mind of God. And you step in this world as the light, knowing that you are a perfect child of God. And that's the truth. And then everything changes, but you got to live it. What does self-compassion look like? I'm going to give you an everyday life story of what that looks like, because it's about practicality, right? I was about to, Carol just mentioned this earlier, I went to Unity of Houston to lead a self-love retreat for women there, for the Unity women. And it was 3 days before I left, and I was feeling a little bit off. Like, I woke up a little bit off. In Spanish, se dice con el moño al revés, which means that your ponytail is crooked. You wake up with your brain like a little crooked. Do you know what I mean?
That's good.
Right? El moño mira, right? So you wake up in the morning and I was like, what's going on here? And I had like this sensation of a very eerie feeling that I had experienced in my 20s, which was a sensation of depression. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? I gotta look at this, right? And it was very uncomfortable because what happens is I started to go back in time of that time and I'm like, I don't want that again. Mm-hmm. Can we all relate to that? Like, oh no, I don't want to go back to the past. I don't want to be depressed like that. Oh no, and it's like this rejection. There's no compassion. I don't want this, this is bad. Right? So we gotta look at that because right away I'm already in judgment. I'm not accepting that I'm in this space of sadness or melancholy or something's going on. And then, after I'm trying to reject it and deny it, then I start judging myself because I feel that way. I shouldn't feel this way. I should be happy. I'm about to lead an amazing retreat for women. I should be grateful. I should be excited about it because I wasn't remotely excited about it at that moment because I was in gloom zoom or whatever. I was gloomy, right? So at that time, there was no space to see what was going on because I was in judgment. So this is what we do to ourselves. We feel bad, we feel guilty or whatever it is, and then we judge ourselves because we feel bad. So it's like a double whammy. This is war. This is war. Is there any self-compassion in there? No. So what happens is that I got myself together in the sense of I started to discern my thoughts, and this is what we do when we're self-love, when we start to discern what's going on here. And there's sort of an acceptance, so there's a feeling that takes place. It's not a rejection, it's more of, okay, there's a miscalculation here. I've miscalculated somewhere. It's just a miscalculation, it's nothing bad. It's just part of being in the body. Sometimes we're going to have these strange sensations of like alien. I feel like we're aliens because that's not the truth of who we are. We've been taken over by an alien, but it's not the truth of who we are, right? So at that time, I forget who I am. Okay, I've forgotten. And then I called someone because sometimes we need that little help. Maybe somebody says something, you just pick up the phone, and usually it's someone that you can really talk to and they discern with you without judgment. And I felt called to call a dear friend of mine and just remind me again. I just wanted an ear. She told me something that was really powerful. She said to me, Maria, you are in a curriculum. It's like a school. You're in a curriculum, spiritual curriculum, which is this world that you get to remember who you are, and class is in session. She says, class is in session. I'm like, class is in session. Okay, bring it. Bring it. Because as my commitment to be the light of the world, my commitment is to face these fears and look at them and say, boo. Right? It's like, I see you, egoic thought system. You want to bring me down like in my 20s, or I want to bring myself down. There's something unconscious here that wants to bring me down, and it's not happening. Because class is in session, and guess what? I'm in the class, and I'm going to run the class with God by my side. I'm going to step into that classroom, and I'm going to do my best to be gentle, loving, kind, and to just go with that light. So what did I do? I got up, I went outside, and I got some fresh air. I got some fresh air. And then I got really excited because I packed like 6 things. I packed like 6 things, and 6 things was enough for me. It's like, okay, I got this done. Because within that, there was like this anxiety of like not being capable, like something was going on, right? So I'm like, okay, I packed 6 things. I'm excited I packed 6 things in my bag. Then I closed the bag, and I'm really excited about that. Why? Because I'm excited about every moment. I'm excited about every moment. I'm not going to my past, I'm not going to my future. I close the bag. Wow, I'm amazing. I closed my luggage. Right? It's so beautiful. I mean, how many of us, like, and I talk about this because actually this talk is based on one of my chapters of my book, which is You Are the Love of Your Life. And then my chapter 7, I talk about how when you wake up in the morning, you put your feet on the floor. That's very compassionate. And you walk, and instead of being in your mind about traffic or what you're going to do later, is walking towards the bathroom and looking at yourself in the mirror and getting the toothbrush and brushing your teeth and just acknowledging how great you brush your teeth. Do you do that? Wow, I'm an amazing toothbrush brusher or whatever, right? Oh, wow, look at my arm up and down when I get to move it, right? So there's this like this acknowledgement, there's like this love for the moment, and there's like an innocent play. That's how you start to be more compassionate with yourself. You start to make things matter. You start to let go and be filled with wonder and such innocence, because we are innocent. And then we start to realize that whatever we're thinking about is not true, and look at it in an innocent way, like a little child that has forgotten who he or she is. I just forgot. I forgot who I am. So in that moment, 3 days before my retreat, I just forgot who I was. And we all do it, but then we choose again, and we choose again, and we choose again. So the next couple days I leave on the plane. They have put me up in a really nice hotel. I enjoyed my day because I have a toddler and I'm married, so I kind of really gave myself. I got there early. I got an early plane there, so I can really just love on myself and be in the hotel and enjoy the hotel and just really be with myself. I got, great food. I watched a movie at night. I was just playing. I was just taking care of myself because, again, something was going on, and there was this compassion of just allowing that to be. And that going to the retreat or leading a retreat doesn't mean that I have to be a certain way. I have to be the way I am being. There's no other way to be but that. And that is love. So when I get there, there was another thing that was coming up for me, which is no preparation. It will be given. And that's something that I had to trust too. There was no outline. It was 10 to 4 and nothing. Just show up. And I have to say, I got there and I was taken by what happened, which was that from the first word to the last word that came out of my mouth was given. And one of the things that worked for me was sharing about my depression, sharing about my sadness, sharing that I'm a happiness teacher and I wasn't so happy. And that's okay. That's self-compassion. And then all of us ladies get to heal together. So it's a women's retreat, and we all get to see what is really real. And then what happens is I start to bring in what is really real. So there's this accessing inner wisdom guidance, and there's this guidance within us, which is Course in Miracles calls the Holy Spirit, which is that part of us that really nourishes, loves us. And I remember the night before, I talked to Spirit, and this is what I do, and this is a practice of self-compassion that you guys can use as well, is I sat down with Spirit, I was like, Spirit, I'm feeling off. I'm not remotely grateful right now for being here or doing a retreat tomorrow. You would expect for me to be super happy about it or whatever. And I started to give over these little thoughts to Spirit, and what I received from Spirit is like this loving embrace and hugged me, and it's like, it's okay. I love you. And I can see that you would feel this way because of your past, because of something that happened. I can see why you would go there. Because when you were a little girl, you got really scared when your father committed suicide. Like, there's a part of you that karmically still feels that separation. And it's okay. Sometimes you don't feel capable because of certain things that happened in your childhood. But I love you, and everything's going to be okay. Let's feel this together. These feelings aren't bad. It's like going through a wave in the ocean. You're going through them, and then they fall. And let's breathe in them together. And then they fall. And then guess what happens is that I remember again who I am, and that there's nothing wrong. I'm not bad for feeling these feelings, and that is compassion. But what happens is that we're very hard on ourselves. There is a war, and we crucify ourselves, and we not only hold judgments and guilt and think all these, like I like to say, caca thoughts about ourselves, right? We don't just do that. We feel guilt and also crucify ourselves because of that. So I invite for us to take that first step of acknowledging our thoughts and not judging ourselves for having them. It's more like, oh wow, okay, I forgot who I was. And no longer suffer because of a script that you created long ago. And rehash the past of what you did or what you could have or would have or should have or wish I would have done better. Right? Some of us don't sleep over that because we're thinking about these things. So I want you to think of yourself as an amazing Oscar-winning screenplay writer. That you know how to write screenplays and you've made real good ones in the past, and that you could win an Oscar for it. And bless that creation. I blessed that creation. I did the best I could with the awareness I had. I blessed that creation. Wow, this moment when I attacked my mom or my mom attacked me and I really made it real and I made it mean like I'm not worthy. I blessed that creation because at that time I did the best I could. I forgot who I was. You bless that. No longer let it keep you hostage. I invite you to stop betraying yourself. Stop betraying yourself. Every time you judge yourself because of something that has happened, or you're judging something in the present, a grievance, you're having a grievance with someone, fear thoughts with someone, you are betraying yourself. You are forgetting your inheritance. You're forgetting your spiritual inheritance, which is that you are the light of the world. And that is the truth. But the time has come to live it. So anytime you're trying to betray yourself, you catch yourself and you're like, okay, bring it. I get to work on this again. I get to remember again who I am. So anytime you're compassionate with people outside of you, now that you're compassionate with yourself, now you can be compassionate with those outside of you. So when those outside of you aren't acting compassionate, you can look at them as an extension of yourself. And know that through them, through acknowledging their truth, through acknowledging that in truth, they can't hurt you, and to acknowledging in truth that only love is real and all else is an illusion, and they are a part of you, and in a crazy way, kind of mirroring to you a part of yourself that still needs healing. When you spot it, you got it. There's something, if it's bothering you, it has to be in you somewhere if you're feeling it. So you need to see it that way. It's like, this person is my best friend. This person is my best friend. This person is part of me and helping me to awaken to the truth of who I am. And that is compassion. And we don't realize that. Every time something happens outside in the world of when we project something and someone's doing something to us or a situation is happening to us, we believe in it. We believe it's happening. We separate. We get upset. And we betray ourselves. I'm really good at this with my husband. Really good at that. Because he's like my number one teacher. He wakes up in the morning there, and he's at night still there. And there's tons of opportunities for me to betray myself and to believe that he's not doing it right or he's not saying it right, etc. But I thank him every day, because every day he shows up for me so I can remember who I am. Thank you. And when I forget, I remember again. And that is compassion. So I want you now to hug yourself again and close your eyes and say out loud, I love you.
I love you.
I care for me.
I care for me.
I love 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 me.
I really love me.
I really love me.
Beautiful. Take a deep breath there. How many of you felt it a little bit more? Like just a little bit more. What happens is with this experiment, which is something I came up with last week at Unity of Burbank, it kind of just came to me to do this, and what came to me was that we opened up the vortex of love. It's like at the beginning, we still don't know what's happening, so we're kind of closed off, and then we start to open up, and we're like, there's like this vortex of love that opens up, and we're like, oh, okay, now I get to remember who I am. But the time has come, everyone, and to wrap it up, the time has come to stop the war. Stop the war, and stop betraying yourself. And stop believing this old story. The time has come to just close that epic screenplay that you've written of the victimizer, or victimization, that you're the victim. That screenplay you've written, that you have forgot and lost God, and forgot who you are, and think you're not worthy, and think you're not capable, and think you're not enough. And all these, like the scripts are that you could be hurt, fear about money, fear about relationships, disappointment in relationships, that whole script, disappointment in your parents. I invite you to close the book. I invite you to just burn that screenplay. God will want you to. And with him, rewrite what is really true. What is really true? What is that? We are the light of the world. And our function is happiness. And our inheritance is happiness. And our birthright is happiness. The time has come. Do a little closing prayer here to kind of close this. I invite you to close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and let's rewrite the script now. I want you to take these words into your heart as you say these words to yourself. In the silence, in the meditation, as we rewrite the script. And the script is, we put the name on the front of the script, and the script is, I am the light of the world. And you open and you start to write the first words of your script, and then later on this week you continue writing it. But we'll begin with this. I am in the mind of God. And I'm happy to remember again that I've never left the love of God. I'm happy that I get to remember who I am again. I am worthy of love. I am capable. I am fearless. I am trusting. I know that I have forgotten who I was many times, but in this script I choose to remember more of who I am. And I walk forward in faith and confidence in that. I'm so excited because there's no more war. I'm putting down the knife that I have constantly held over my head and the head of others. And I just say in this new script, no war, no more war. I will no longer betray myself. And then this final sentence for the first page of the script is, thank you, God, for always loving me and for always being there, for holding me on a pedestal and always holding my truth, regardless of how much times I have forgotten. I'm so grateful. Amen. You may open your eyes. Thank you, everyone. I love you.